What if Rome never fell? To understand what happens if Rome never falls, we first need to know why it did. At its peak, the Roman Empire controlled millions of people across 3 continents. Its roads connected vast territories. Its armies were nearly unstoppable. Its cities were marvels of engineering. Before we continue, if you're a fan of history, alternate timelines, and fascinating what-if scenarios, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and lets me keep making videos like this. But by the 300s and 400s AD, cracks were beginning to show. The empire had become enormous and difficult to govern. Corruption was spreading. Political instability became common. Emperors came and went at an alarming rate. Then came external pressure. Germanic tribes pushed against Roman borders. The Huns swept across Europe, forcing entire populations to migrate. In 410 AD, Rome itself was sacked by the Visigoths. For the first time in nearly 800 years, the Eternal City had fallen to invaders. But that wasn't the end. The Western Roman Empire struggled on for decades. Then, in 476 AD, the last Western emperor was removed from power. Traditionally, historians mark this as the fall of Rome. Yet here's the interesting part. The Eastern Roman Empire, better known as the Byzantine Empire, survived for another 1,000 years. So Rome didn't completely disappear. It just lost half of itself. But what if the West never collapsed at all? What if Rome found a way to adapt? Because that's where our alternate timeline begins. Let's change one event that in our timeline. Roman leaders often fought each other for power. Civil wars drained resources that should have been used to defend the borders. In this alternate world, a series of competent emperors emerges during the late 300s. Instead of competing for power, they focus on reforms. Taxes become more efficient. Corruption is reduced. The army is modernized. Most importantly, Rome successfully integrates many Germanic tribes into the empire rather than treating them as outsiders. Instead of enemies, they become citizens. When the Huns arrive, Rome now has a larger, more loyal military. The invasions that devastated the empire are contained. The sack of Rome never happens. The Western Empire survives. And once that happens, history starts changing fast. But the next challenge may be even bigger than invasion. Can Rome survive technological change? By the year 600, Rome remains united. Latin continues evolving, but instead of splitting into many separate languages, a standardized imperial language emerges. Trade flourishes across Europe. Roads remain maintained, cities continue growing. Without the collapse of Western authority, Europe avoids much of the instability associated with the early medieval period. But Rome faces a new challenge. The rise of Islam. In real history, rapidly expanding Islamic empires conquered vast territories that had once belonged to Rome. In this timeline, a stronger empire puts up much stiffer resistance. Some territories are still lost. History rarely stays exactly the same. But Rome remains a major Mediterranean superpower. Then comes another huge question. Would the Renaissance even happen? Surprisingly, yes. But it might happen centuries earlier. Knowledge isn't lost when cities decline. Roman libraries survive. Scientific research continues. Engineering advances faster. And by the year 1000, Rome may already be entering an age of innovation that resembles our Renaissance. Which leads to a fascinating possibility. What if Rome reaches the Industrial Revolution first? Imagine steam engines being developed by Roman engineers. Imagine factories appearing in massive imperial cities. Imagine Roman explorers crossing oceans under a single imperial flag. Without centuries of division, resources from across Europe, North Africa, and parts of the Middle East fuel rapid development. The empire begins building global trade networks. Its navy dominates the seas. Colonization still occurs, but under one giant empire rather than many competing nations. By the 1700s and 1800s, Rome resembles something almost unimaginable, a technologically advanced megastate controlling enormous portions of the world, yet success creates a new problem. How do you govern hundreds of millions of people spread across continents? Even the greatest empire has limits. And Rome may now face its toughest test. Not invasion. Not war. But size. By the 21st century, Rome probably wouldn't look like the ancient empire we imagine. No emperor sitting in a marble palace giving commands. Instead, it might evolve into a massive federal system. Think of a blend between an empire, a republic, and a modern union. Citizens from Britain, Egypt, Spain, and Greece might all consider themselves Roman. Latin-based languages dominate global communication. Roman law shapes nearly every legal system. The capital could be Rome itself, or perhaps a massive futuristic city built specifically to govern the empire. Technology might be more advanced. Or perhaps slower in some areas due to less competition. After all, many breakthroughs happen because rival nations push each other forward. That's the biggest uncertainty. A united Rome might create greater stability. But it might also reduce the competitive pressure that drove innovation in our world. And that leads to the ultimate question. Would humanity be better off? If Rome never fell, the world would almost certainly be more unified. Languages, laws, and culture would share a common Roman foundation. Many wars might never happen. Entire nations might never exist. But history teaches us something important: empires don't survive by staying the same. They survive by adapting. The real question isn't whether Rome could have lasted forever. It's whether it could have changed enough to keep up with the world. And if it had, you might not be watching this video in English today. You might be watching it in a modern version of Latin. And somewhere, the Roman Empire might still be ruling the world. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another history deep dive. And let me know in the comments, would a world where Rome never fell be better or worse? And what historical event should we change next? Thanks for watching.